Well, Yusei Kikuchi came to town and he had a historic night. Mike and I are excited to talk about this Astros win because there's a lot of pitching stuff that we need to talk about. And I don't have to pitch to you the idea that getting Kikuchi was really good. Let's go.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, and I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat a low in the way you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walking back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well put them back to the bullpen, oh yeah.
All right, welcome into a special Friday night edition of Back to the Bullpen. We are here, we are live tonight, and we want to hang out with y'all. Mike Stanton's here. Look, you can find me at Htown Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find the show at Instagram, here on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers, and on iHeartRadio. Look, man, this is a great game to talk about. Mike, tell everybody where they can find you.
There's only one place, and that's going to be on X, formerly known as Twitter, and it is Mike Stanton 29.
You know, it's funny because apparently Elon is doing these random polls. Should we call it X? Should we call it Twitter? Should we make the symbol an X that looks like a bird? And
hey, I have to say that so I don't just call it Twitter.
There you go. There you go. You're like, I'm just saying that so I don't get fined.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how Elon would find me, but yeah, I mean, you don't want to, especially right off the top of the show, just
exactly. Exactly. All right. So, hey, man, yeah, look, we already got people jumping in. Kikuchi did look great tonight. That's what, one of the things we are excited about. And of course, Mike, you yourself, a former major league pitcher. I mean, when you see a performance like this, look, he is a veteran. Okay. Yep. And he came in from a whole different team, a whole different culture. And let's talk about that. What is that like coming into a new team and a new clubhouse, especially when there's, a language barrier? So that creates some things.
Well, this isn't the first time he's changed teams. So I'm not going to say it wasn't a big deal, because anytime you're traded, whether you've been traded 4 times like I was in my career, or it's your first trade, it's always daunting. It's always weird. It's always, after the first time, at least you have an idea what to expect. But hey, it's always a little. People need to understand what happens here. Your whole world is turned upside down. Okay, because you don't get, you know what? You have 2 weeks to move to the new city. No, you got like 24 hours. A lot of times, especially as a reliever, they expect you there ASAP. I think the rules state you have 72 hours, but obviously you're going to a new team, especially if it's a big league team. You're not going to you're not screw around. You're just going to go get there as quick as possible. And, a lot of times that first day as a reliever, you're probably going to pitch. They're going to get you in the game, get the cobwebs out of the way. Now, Kikuchi didn't have to do that. He actually had a couple days to kind of get to know the guys, to learn his surroundings, to talk to his catchers and do all that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you what, whatever happened worked. And I think what could have been the best thing to happen to Kikuchi today is that he gave up that 2-run home run. You're like, wait, what? No, you don't want to give up runs before you even have recorded an out. The reason I say that is because it probably calmed him down. It just got him focused a little bit more. But by going in there, giving up the double, giving up the home run, now he's like, oh, really? This is how, I'm gonna thank the Astros for bringing me in, because I'll tell you what, after that home run, he freaking shoved.
Well, it was funny because the second that home run was hit, I can't tell you how many tweets I saw. Nice trade. I'm like, come on, guys. Sure. It's one inning. And I'm just like, oh, Lord. It's like someone said, just like people were crying over Jose Siri leaving. And look, this is just an emotional fan base. And this is what's interesting too. John brings us up. Apparently Kikuchi has to have 12 to 14 hours of sleep the night before the start, according to Sports Illustrated, which is crazy. Pitchers, you guys are creatures of habit, and some guys, eat certain meals. Some guys go through certain routines. Some pitchers, I guess, got to sleep 12 to 14 hours. But he added in his changeup, and I saw this quote from one of the new beat writers of the Chronicle, Matt, and I'm going to butcher his last name, but I know his first name is Matt. Yusei Kikuchi said that this was the most he's ever used his changeup. Victor Caratini and Alex Bregman encouraged him to use that pitch. Mm-hmm. Now, like him coming in, we knew he had the swing and miss stuff.
Sure.
But he didn't just have an average swing and miss stuff night tonight, did he, Mike? Tell us how many swings and misses.
He had an exceptional swing and miss stuff. Actually, to tell you the truth, this is the biggest number that I can remember seeing in quite a long time, maybe ever. Okay, wow. So when you have to remember, he only pitched 5 2/3 innings. It's not like this dude threw 9 innings.
True.
Okay. He threw, let me make sure. I don't want to lie to the people. He threw 95 pitches. Okay. So he didn't even hit 100 pitches. He had 26 swing and misses.
Wow.
That is an incredibly large number. And here's the crazy thing. That changeup that Caratini and Alex Bregman told him to throw, that was his biggest swing and miss pitch. Okay.
Wow.
The Tampa Bay Rays swung at 14 changeups. They swung and missed 11 times on that pitch alone. Okay. And the interesting thing we need to look at is we go behind the scenes here and figure out exactly, well, why would a third baseman tell him to throw the changeup? Alex has had many at-bats against Yusei Kikuchi. Caratini has had some at-bats against him, but is also the catcher behind the plate. And they go, you know what? This is your pitch, man. This is what you need to throw, especially against those right-handers. And I can guarantee you, Alex went to him and said, hey, this is the pitch that I had the toughest time against. Okay? Your curveball, good. Slider was very good. Also, he had 9 swing and misses on the slider also.
Right.
But it was that changeup fading away, down and away from the right-handers. He was throwing hard, throwing in the mid-90s. I mean, when you're running the ball up there that hard, you have to respect the fastball, which makes you very susceptible to the changeup. And, this may be a Ronel Blanco type situation. Not that Yusei found a new pitch, but just say, hey, it ain't broke, don't fix it. If they're swinging at it, keep throwing that sucker. And that's really what he did tonight. It was rather impressive. 11 strikeouts. Yeah, he walked 3 guys. That's okay. He didn't give up very many hits. I think just 1 hit after the first inning. Just absolutely dealing.
Exactly. And he had 8 strikeouts, which in a row, which is the most by a pitcher in his debut with his new team. That was really cool.
People need to understand that's almost 3 complete innings in a row of nothing but swing and miss.
Wow.
That is just absolutely legit. That's just getting it done.
So what you're telling me, Mike, is having Yusei Kikuchi with the Astros this last half of the season is probably a better option than keeping Jake Bloss.
Well, I mean, it's one start.
Right.
I mean,
I know it's one start, but I'm just saying,
we don't want to oversell this.
Okay.
But 26 swing and misses. I mean, I can't remember JV ever doing that. I mean, even back in, his Cy Young years.
Right.
I don't remember Garrett Cole doing that. You may be able to go back, maybe, Roy Oswalt, maybe. I mean, you may have to go to the big unit, Randy Johnson.
Right.
You may have to go, but Clemens probably never did that in an Astros uniform. I mean, that is a huge swing and miss total, excuse me. And again, you just have to look at it as in 5 2/3 innings. I mean, you're not even talking about 6 innings.
So with this start, and the way he's, come in. I mean, everybody's expectations are, okay, we traded for you. We gave away a lot. We expect a lot. But he is a veteran. This is the team, I think, any team that has difficulties facing them, and we'll get to them. Some Garcia news that's frustrating, some Tucker news that's frustrating. But this team, more than anybody, as I think the perfect clubhouse for someone like Kikuchi to come in, because he's going to come in respected. He's going to come in. The guys are going to want to work with them. The catchers are going to want to work with them. But what I like about his changeup, and what I like about the changeup, is its deception. But I think too, Mike, and I don't know if I'm overthinking this, but I think the way
you're probably overthinking. You know, I can't let it go.
Oh,
if you're gonna set it up, I'm gonna hit it out of the ballpark.
You're right. I do tee it up pretty nicely for you. Quite often. I've got to work on that. I've got to go back and watch the shows, and
you got to make it a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'll make it obvious. Thank you, Mike. But seriously,
all right, what you got?
So with his windup, and almost, I guess, the way he hides the ball, it's not only a deceptive pitch, a changeup, but the way he releases. I mean, he hides the ball well. The ball's tucked way down by his hip when he throws. I mean, that probably adds a mystery to it, I'm assuming.
Well, okay. So what the deception in the delivery does, it makes your pitches, especially your fastball, play up. And what I mean by that, it seems harder than it is. He's got the funky leg kick. He kind of turns his shoulders a little bit away from the hitter. He's not one of the biggest guys out there. It's not, it's not like he's like Randy Johnson, coming at you from basically first base. But he does have some deception. But I think the issues that he's had in the past, and this starts against the Astros. This is, because you look at the stuff and you go, man, this guy should be, one of the better left-handers in Major League Baseball. At times he has been. But I think that even though he doesn't walk a whole lot of guys, I still think sometimes he has command issues inside the strike zone, especially when he gets ahead in the count. When he gets ahead in the count, go back and see some of the clips, some of the highlights. He kind of throws a lot of pitches on the plate when they're supposed to be maybe in the dirt, or they're supposed to be off the plate away, or maybe high, and he just spins. But the changeup, and Alex would be the guy to really talk to about this. A guy with a good changeup is harder to hit than a guy with a really good slider. Okay, and the reason is because first, kind of everybody throws a breaking ball, and they're not all the same, but a guy with a good changeup that has good arm action, throws it from the same arm slot, has the same tunneling. You can't see it. It's just you're swinging fastball and it's just not there. And good changeups can be devastating. Heck, there's been guys in the past that's all they had. Guys like John Tudor, you went way back to the 80s. He was fastball changeup. I mean, you look at Tom Glavine. Tom Glavine had a mediocre at best breaking ball. What put him in the Hall of Fame? Changeup, and he didn't even throw hard. So, there's guys that have made a living, even go into the Hall of Fame because of the changeup. And I love the fact that he came over, and the guys kind of welcomed him with open arms and said, "Hey, this is what we think you can do to get better." And I love the fact that you had hitters, not pitchers. You had hitters come up and say, "Hey, the changeup's dirty. You need to throw that sucker more."
Did you notice the game that he was here when he first arrived? He sat right in between all the pitchers at the end of the dugout.
Yeah.
I thought that was huge. And that not only says something about Kikuchi, but it says something about this pitching staff. And, Mike, I take it back to when I saw Hunter Brown take his major league debut. And I noticed before that, you notice all of the guys like Luis Garcia, the Framber Valdez, all those guys. When Ronell's first game, all the pitchers go back and they watch the guy throw warm-ups in the bullpen. And that's kind of like
shows camaraderie. It shows support. And really, what are you trying to do, especially with a new guy, a young guy, coming up from the minor leagues, or even a big, a big leaguer coming over in trade? You want him to feel comfortable.
Right.
And, one of the things that we heard from Loperfido was that very thing, that, he never felt like a rookie. He never felt like, he was just a young guy, you're seen and not heard, just sit there and learn. That it felt like a family, that it felt like, that's why he was visibly upset when he was traded, excited to go to Toronto, go to the big leagues, that, all that good stuff. But, when you leave your first team, even if it's happening, man, it's tough. But especially as a young guy that didn't see the trade coming, and then because he had such a pleasant experience being a Houston Astro.
Yeah, sorry, my grandson's peeking his head in right now.
It's all good, man.
He's trying to get some camera action. We're trying. He just got out of the bath, but yeah, he's over there. He's like creeping in. That's why I kept looking over, and my grandson and my daughter over. But so there were some key things that happened tonight in the game. Yordan Alvarez, taking advantage on the base paths, doing just the Astros. Yainer Diaz staying hot, getting another double. This guy is he is on fire. John Singleton got on base.
Which is hotter? Is white hot or blue hotter? Whatever it is, he's that.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And listen, it's not all great swings. No. There's times he's just flipping the bat out there, but gosh, man, it seems like every time he swings, he finds the barrel and it finds outfield grass. It's awesome to see that he's rolling like this, and the Astros need him, because this was not a great offensive night. This wasn't even a great, a really exciting baseball game,
right?
Unless you like good pitching, because that's what you saw. Unless you like swing and miss, because there's a lot of swing and miss tonight.
Well, it's funny. I joke with people all the time. Like, I could go to a game that's 3-2 in a pitcher's duel.
Mm-hmm.
I remember and I don't remember the score of the game, but I remember going to the game when it was Maddox versus Clemens, and it was the first time 2 300 game winners had pitched against each other in the same game. Which to me, with all those guys kind of throwing at the same time, it's hard to believe that didn't happen more than. At first, it was that time in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
But you did have several multi-hit games. John Singleton, 2 for 4. Pena, 2 for 4. Bregman, 2 for 4. Diaz, 2 for 3. Got his average up to 300. 772 OPS. I like his OPS climbing.
Yeah.
Yainer walked tonight. And that's one of the things I've been talking about. And on the other show I do, Locked on Astros, we talk about, like, he needs to get on base more. He needs to walk more. And that's a good sign, because, Mike, we're hearing that the timeline for Tucker, he was put on the 60-day IL.
Yeah.
They said his timeline hasn't changed, but I'm losing hope.
Did they say what the timeline was? They said timeline hasn't changed, but they didn't tell us what the timeline was.
They didn't. But if the date, so my question to you is, if the date is July 27th or whenever they announce that 60-day IL, do they, by the rules, have to start it right then, or can they?
No,
they can retroactive.
It's
okay,
retroactive.
Well,
just like the regular IL.
Okay.
And the reason they did that was because they needed the 26-man roster spot.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? That's not true. They needed the 20. They needed both the 26-man roster spot and the 40-man roster spot.
That's right.
Okay, because when you go on the 60-day DL or IL, excuse me, I put $1 in the jar.
You have sinned.
That's right. What happens is when you go on the 60, you're not on either roster. I mean, you're still a big leaguer. It's a business move. But that's why they did that, was because they needed that roster spot on the 40-man.
Now, we also heard that Garcia had a setback. Another setback. This to me, and of course, look, hindsight's always 20/20. Okay. I don't think anybody could have predicted the amount of pitching injuries that this one club has had. We're not the only club, but 7 starters on the IL.
This has been an epidemic across Major League Baseball.
It has.
But the Astros have had more than their fair share.
But it seems like, man, it makes you look back and go, yeah, we really should have gone and got some starting pitching in the offseason. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, listen, they were coming out of spring training, and Dana Brown was talking about it, every time he was asked,
right,
which was quite often, that they felt good with their depth.
Right.
That they were, you were 7 or 8 deep in the big leagues, and then you had McCullers and Luis Garcia, looking at coming back in the middle of the season.
Right.
So, I mean, I understand that, but there's an old saying, as soon as you think you have enough pitching, you don't. And that's really what happened, because you can't predict that many guys going down. Now, the Astros were lucky a little bit. Fromber went down. He came back. He's been fine. So there has been, some guys that you look at and you kind of wipe your brow because you dodged a bullet, but they haven't dodged very many bullets as far as injuries in their pitching staff.
Yeah, no, they haven't. They've taken them.
Right.
I mean, they have been firing at them, and the bullets have not missed.
I mean, even Bloss, you could even say Bloss.
Yeah.
Because
that was
does this trade go through if Bloss wasn't healthy? You don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but what a good win, 3-2. I don't care how many runs you win by, you need it, because what do you know? The Phillies are absolutely failing on the job. They're getting beat 9-0. Come on, Phillies. You're getting beat 9-0.
Supposed to be the best team in the National League. Let's go.
Exactly. I mean, the Rangers got beat, so they did their job. Good job, Rangers. Thank you. Separating ourselves from third place more. So, the Astros are going to stay a percentage point in first place, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But they're just going to have to keep winning, Mike. I mean, this battle's going to be tough in August.
So there's something that we need to talk more about in tonight's game. And it's the Astros, which, they don't hit a whole bunch of home runs. That's not really their power source. Now it's a lot of times, getting on base, walks, then you hit a double, drive a few guys in, runners in scoring position, all that kind of stuff. That wasn't really tonight either. Tonight there was some aggressive base running, taking the extra 90 feet. And that's, a good team can figure out how to win when they're not having their best day. And the Astros have been doing this year in and year out for seemingly the last decade. Not quite that long, but you know what I'm saying, for a long time. And it's one of those things that the Astros, they had gotten some hits. They were able to tie up the game off of Shane Boss, who was throwing the ball very well. Yeah. Local kid right out of, just south of where I am right now at Concordia Lutheran in Tomball. They were able to scratch, the 3 runs across. And, the Astros haven't won a whole lot of games when they've scored 3 runs or fewer. So this was a little bit of an aberration. This kind of goes against the norm. Usually when the Astros score 4 runs or more, they've got a pretty good record. But when there's not a whole lot of offense, they just haven't won a whole lot of games. They've won a few, but so this was a big one. And the way that they did it, it wasn't with the 3-run home run. They did it with their legs. Jordan showing his speed again.
Yeah, someone said he unhitched the wagon for that one.
Hey, Jordan, when he's running in a straight line, Jordan's actually pretty stinking fast. Now, you don't want him, moving around a whole lot. Because,
you don't want him zigging and zagging. You don't want Jordan to be the guy to try to run away from the alligator. But when alligators,
that's right.
What you get away from is you
that's
zig
right.
and you zag.
Zigzag. Yeah, no, you want him running in a straight line.
It's funny. I've always been told that, and I asked a guy from
Louisiana.
You gonna try? Well, I've asked a guy from Louisiana. Do they?
Guys in yours and my age now. I don't know how much running we're actually going to do.
Right. Well. So in Louisiana, one guy told me, he was like, I would never zig or zag. He goes, I'm just running straight to where he goes, I'm just running away. I'm not going to think about juking and all that stuff. So, yeah, man.
Probably. Hey, if I'm running from an alligator, there's probably going to be screaming involved too.
I'm going to probably turn around and try to.
Hey, just remember, I don't have to be
you.
faster to the alligator. I just have to be faster than you.
That's right. See, that's why I think I would survive like a zombie apocalypse, because I would just push down the guy that's slower than me.
I was going to say, I am not against tripping you.
You would trip me? Come on, man.
Hey, I'll feel really bad afterwards, but
I put your name first in the show. I said Mike and Brett. Come on, man.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, man. No, but man, this is wow. Look at that. Brett runs a 3.21 on the 40-yard dash. Man, if I could run a 3.21, I would not.
I don't think my car will do a 3.2.
Wow. I wish I had that kind of speed. But man, also this win is a one-run game. Yes. And in one-run games, the Astros are horrible this year.
And another come from behind win, which I think they've got. Oh gosh, this is like. Oh, I couldn't open the notes today for some reason. It's like 24 or 25
come from behind
wins.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah, and you know what? I should have pulled those up because I have access to the game day notes every day. I didn't open them up, but look, JV's return will be sweet. The good thing is we keep getting good reports on Justin Verlander. So that's a good thing. If you have a healthy Justin Verlander, you have Hunter Brown shoving, you have Fromber doing his thing, you have Kikuchi primed. Those four right there in a playoff rotation, Mike, that's an excellent rotation.
Could be. There's no doubt. Could be. And then what that does is that sets up your bullpen the way you want it set up. When you design a bullpen, you really do it from the back forward. So they went out and got Josh Hader, and Ryan and Presley had done a really nice job of closing, but Hader is one of the best closers in the game and has been for years.
Right.
You get a chance to bring on a guy like that, it backs everything up, and it's the three-headed monster. Hasn't always worked the way we expected it to, but you get 6+ out of your rotation, man, you're in a good position because you got so many quality arms down there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I love. And it's about manufactured runs right now at this point. And if you're not scoring a lot, you just have to score more. I don't care if it's 2 runs or 1 run. You just have to score more.
We talked about how a good team figures out a way to win even when they're not having their best day. And that's what you saw offensively today. Pitching is the same way. And when you look at the whole team finds a way to win. Sometimes you're going to pitch your rear end off. Sometimes you're going to score a whole lot of runs. Sometimes you need somebody to make great defensive plays to bail your pitchers out. And we know this team has the ability to do all that. And, you take the first, month, 6 weeks out, the Astros have actually played very good baseball. And, the silver lining, if we can get JV back, get Verlander back, get him healthy, and get him on a roll. You don't want this to kind of keep dragging on, and he gets 2 or 3 starts before the playoffs. No, you want. My opinion, I would want him to get 7, 8 starts. Kind of build up the arm strength, get back into the routine, and the silver lining is now you have a healthy and rested Justin Verlander going into October. Now, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves because the Astros are only a half game up as we speak right now because Seattle is just blowing out the Philadelphia Phillies. So they're going to
maybe the Phillies can come from behind.
Well, they're pretty good offensive, but I don't know if there's any team that's made to come from 9 back.
Come on, Mike. Where's your sense of faith in the Philadelphia?
But you know what? It's great for us to talk about the fans. Right. Yeah, we can stress out about it. The players, don't even look. You just go out there and take care of your business, and they'll end up where they need to be.
Well, and I think if you did, you really get outside of your job is to not watch the scoreboard. Your job is to look at what you did and be 1% better the next day. Like, how can I fix this? How can I fix that? And I think that's what this club does. And that's what's been impressive for me. And you and I hadn't had a chance to talk about it, but the article came out with Chandler Roan talking about how Bregman, or maybe we talked about it, how Bregman has really coached this staff. How important is it to have a veteran like Bregman to be able to talk to these pitchers, to talk to these catchers, and kind of be like an on the field coach versus someone coming out of the bench?
Well, listen, a team has multiple leaders,
Right.
By the time people, by the time because you're watching this, people probably know my background, and I can tell you, the last dynasty, the late '90s, early 2000 Yankees, you know, Joe Torre got all the credit, and Joe was a great manager. He was a great people person. He was great at dealing with George Steinbrenner in the front office and dealing with the media and all that kind of stuff. But as far as the day-to-day leadership of the team, we had a veteran team. I mean, we had like 130 years of baseball experience or something crazy like that.
Unreal.
On that team. So you really didn't need one guy.
Right.
Because everybody was a team leader. Now, you had guys that led more by example than you had guys that were more rah-rah, and everybody has their own personality. But, this team has done it so much, and especially with Tucker, because Tucker has turned into a pretty big team leader. But, Altuve, not the biggest rah-rah guy. He's going to lead by example. Bregman is more vocal. He's more vocal in the clubhouse than he is in front of the camera. But
exactly,
there's plenty of guys, and even JV, who's not on the team not an active player on the team right now, still a veteran presence. So there's still plenty of guys that will take over the day-to-day operations inside the clubhouse. And that's really what you want. You want Joe Espada worrying about everything else. He doesn't need to be worrying about what's going on at the clubhouse. Those guys need to police themselves, and they do.
So let's just kind of wrap things up on this. Joe Espada has gotten a lot of criticism this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's his first year managing. The Astros have had a lot of problems. We've been, up until our hot streak and still trending upward. At the beginning of the season, you just thought this season was lost. People not in the media, but people, the fan base were like, hey, we need to get rid of Joe. He's terrible. We need to go outside. We need to get Francona. I mean, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But he's kind of settled in. When a manager's going through that, do players lift that manager up? Are there conversations between players and managers like, hey, Skip, we got your back? Or, I mean, I know you were under Torre, but what has been your experience? What was your experience as a player seeing whenever managers go through tough times? Because do players kind of like a no-hitter stay away from the coach, or do they go and coach off and say, hey, man, we got you? Or what's that dynamic like behind closed doors?
It really depends on the coach. It depends on the player. There's a lot of things. A lot of times the coaching staff kind of takes care of himself, because Joe Espada is not by himself.
Right.
Sure. He's got Omar Lopez, he's got Josh Miller, he's got all the other coaches that are in the coaches room together, because a lot of it's done, in the clubhouse.
Okay.
And so, but were there conversations? Oh, I'm sure there were. There's no doubt, because you wouldn't be Joe wouldn't be human if he wasn't questioning himself. Am I doing everything I'm supposed to do? I think we all, right. And I think it was unfounded, the questions he was asked, because it wasn't his moves that were causing the Astros to lose. What was causing the Astros to lose is the players weren't doing their job. Yeah. And a lot of times that's where it comes down to. Not that there's anything Joe needs to do, but the players are the ones that need to check themselves. The players are the ones that need to pick it up. I know I was on a couple teams that the manager got fired, and it bothered me. Not because I was, great friends with the manager, but because he got fired because I couldn't be. He got fired because me as a player, I wasn't doing my job.
Yeah, you can't just throw players out. I mean,
no, you can't. I mean, you can release them, but you're still going to pay them.
Right.
But so the old saying is you can't fire the players. So somebody has to be fired. And the old saying, a manager is hired to be fired. But it sucks. It sucks when a manager gets fired because the players aren't doing their job. And a lot of times, how many times do you see teams actually play better? The Phillies are one of them. When Rob Thompson got the job over Joe Girardi, it wasn't that Joe Girardi was doing anything wrong. And it wasn't that Rob came in and did something right. It was just a little different voice. And then the players were like, yeah, you know what? That dude doesn't get to manage anymore because we sucked. And a lot of times, that gut check, that looking in the mirror, that changes the team around. And now all of a sudden the new manager has everything to do with it when he really didn't do much anyways, except just be the next guy in line.
Exactly. I think we've got some exciting baseball before us here in August. This is going to be a fun end of the season, a fun final few laps. And I'm excited that we get to go on this journey together, man, because the year's winding down. We're getting closer and closer to playoff time. I mean,
come on now. There's still a lot of baseball. You just got a third of the season. We just went into August.
I know.
You're already kicking dirt on the season. What the heck?
No, I'm not kicking dirt. I'm just saying we're getting closer and closer.
We are.
With each day, with each win, I think this team positions himself in a better place to be, because I think that you have to win this division, because you saw when we went down for one day, we were one game back one day. We were automatically 3.5 games out of the wild card.
Oh yeah.
You literally go from division winner to completely out of it.
Yeah. There's chances are there's only going to be one team make the playoff out of the American League West. So yeah, you want to win the division, and you also don't, you don't want to be the wild card if you can stay away from it. But yeah, this has not been a great division this year. It has gotten a little bit better now that the Astros, the Mariners looked like they were running away with it in the first half. They cooled off. The Astros got hot. The Texas Rangers keep hanging around. So it's not as bad as it was, but it's still not a great division.
Exactly. Yeah. And to speak of the Rangers, Scherzer back on the IL for arm fatigue. I mean, he just came back. I
hate it.
I don't
to see.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as you don't want him pitching well, I mean, for the Rangers, I mean, he's Max Scherzer. This is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. This is one of the best right-handers of the generation. And you say the same thing about Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got nothing from Jacob deGrom, and he's probably one of the few pitchers that I would pay money to go watch.
Really?
When he is right, oh my gosh, his stuff is so filthy.
It's I mean, it stinks. Injuries, unfortunately, are a part of the game. And I will end on this thought. We may have 3 teams come out of both the AL Central and the NL Central that
Incredible.
make the playoffs.
I don't know if we've ever had that. We haven't in the last probably 40 years. I know.
That's insane.
It's crazy, because those are the 2 divisions that have always been kind of the coastal teams have beat up on. That ain't the case. I mean, both of those divisions are legit.
It's tough. Well, hey, Mike, this has been great. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. We got 305 people watching us live.
Hey, and we do want to apologize for everybody. We haven't been on a little while. We both had some things going on, but hey, we're back now. And don't forget to get your T-shirts, man.
That's right. Back to the bullpen.
You didn't sell our T-shirts today.
Oh, my bad. Here, let me do that. Watch this. I'll do this. I'll move myself. Look right there.
There it is.
That QR code gets you a Back to the Bullpen T-shirt. Oh, and check this out. I got a fresh run of Back to the Bullpen stickers.
There you go.
Right here. So if you guys want one of these stickers, DM me on social media. I'll put them in a little envelope. I'll send you one or two. Okay.
There you go. Perfect.
Right here, Back to the Bullpen stickers for our faithful followers. And hey, help us get to 1,000 subscribers. The most important thing is that you listen to us, download us, share it with your friends, tell everybody, get your shirt. You got that first date coming up, grab it for your date, go to church in it. You can, I don't care what you do. If you pick strawberries, if you bag groceries, or if you're just going to the Astros game, some of our fans wear the shirt to the game.
We do. I've seen them. There's a few.
It's been a good luck charm. Pretty much every time that our guy has worn it, I believe they've gotten a victory, and so the tradition continues. So thanks, Mike. You got any closing thoughts before we go?
No, hey, tell your friends. We're gonna get right back on the horse here and doing this as often as we can. So, hey, we're in this for the long haul. So we need to get those viewers up. We need to get the likes up, all that good stuff. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell the people you don't like. We don't care.
That's right.
But hey, the Astros are in first place. That's where we want them. That's why we do this.
That's right. And from the Ram Shirt Studios and State of the Art Barbershop is our friend. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm Htown Wheelhouse. This has been a great show, and y'all have a good one.
Adios.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, man, I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat low in the way, you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walking back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, my